Johnny's in America, no tax at the wheel. No one needs anyone, they don't even just pretend. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. Johnny wants a brain. Johnny wants to suck on the coke. Johnny wants a woman. Johnny wants to think of a joke. Johnny's in America. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world. I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can't. I'm afraid of Americans. Johnny's in America. Johnny looks up at the stars.
Hey, what's up? Turn on my headphones here. How you guys doing? Dugio, what's up? Dugio's first. Scraper, how you doing? We've got a 24-hour stream coming up tomorrow, Scraper. I don't know if you saw the news. I posted about it on my Blue Sky account. You can go check it out there. But we are doing a 24-hour stream. I didn't even know there was an early access. Like, they're so bad at announcing this shit. The Discord was dead until yesterday when they announced it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's 2 days from now, great. So we had to throw together a 24-hour stream as quick as I could. So we're going to be starting tomorrow at 10 a.m. when Lorwyn first drops in early access. I'll be drafting the new set. We'll be playing a lot of Sealed. I might play some Constructed, but probably not going to waste my time with Constructed. Charlie, what's up? Yeah, you like that, Charlie? It felt fitting. It felt right. Morgo, what's up? How many can I handle? We're gonna find out. We've got many, many more to come. There's gonna be 7 sets coming out this year, just that alone. Plus, who knows? I might do one for my birthday or something, or I don't know. Okay, Scoop, what's up? We're built different. Yeah, I love doing them. So, with that, said, I was gonna take a look at some Lorwyn stuff today. So there's a few things I want to do. First of all, we'll take a look at the spoilers, because I never actually went over all of the spoilers once they got fully released. There was a bunch we covered, but yeah, I've seen some of these, but some of them, like, I haven't even seen this at Johnny yet. So let's go color by color, and I'm gonna go through all of the cards. Basically, I want to actually get an idea about the commons and uncommons, because again, we're gonna be drafting starting tomorrow. And figure out, if I can, I don't know, get any ideas. Now, obviously, a lot of people are complaining about this set, saying it's going to be like Bloomborough, right? It's going to be very linear, very on rails. Ravnica was like this. Anytime they give you, like, these very rigidly defined archetypes to go, like, it's Boros and Dimir and Izzet, and, they're all doing a very specific thing that don't overlap. It gets tricky because those sets, like with Bloomborough, right? You were mice or frogs or whatever. And it was hard to, like, if you had cards not of that type, then you were not, your deck was weaker. Like, the cards that were not of the type that you're trying to go for are really bad in any other types other than them, right? Other than what they belong to. So if you had frogs in your mice deck, they would suck. You just couldn't even play them, basically. But got back from chiropractor. Oh no. Yeah, my mom got into, like, naturopathy and chiropractors and stuff at one point, and she took me there. So I've had experience with a chiropractor, but I'm very wary of that. It's not it's a pseudoscience, and it's, you know, you got to be very careful. The people who practice it are not licensed by anybody real. They're not doctors, so be careful. There's people who get injured all the fucking time going to a chiropractor. Surprisingly, Lorwyn looks very MTG-ish. I mean, yeah, it's a universes within set, so it better look MTG. But the problem with the tribal or the typal stuff, the kindred stuff, is what I said, where, you know, the draft experience kind of sucks because it's on rails. Like Bloomerang draft was not that great, and I'm sure there are people who love that, but I didn't like it, and a lot of people are saying the same thing here. But I think this might be different. Like, I think there's enough overlap here that, at least from what we saw, like things like these minus one counters and stuff, and vivid, you know, these mechanics that encourage overlap between types, between archetypes, between kindred types, is, you know, might actually make this a set that doesn't feel like it's on rails. Anyway, we'll see. What does a Johnny do? Outland Chaperone. 3 mana Planeswalker. Anytime a Planeswalker costs 3, you've got to sit up and pay attention. That is very cheap for a Planeswalker. +1s to 4. So on turn 3, going to 4 loyalty is pretty good. That's, you know, that used to be very unkillable on turn 4, or on turn 3, but in this day and age, I'm not even sure if that's good enough. Going to 4 loyalty on turn 3 makes a blocker, so kind of protects himself a little bit. -2, 4 damage to only tapped creature. Little weak. Look at the top X cards of your library, where X is your life total. You may put any number of non-permanent cards with mana value 3 or less among them on the battlefield and shuffle. Okay, so a big, expensive ultimate that's going to take basically forever to get there. This is essentially never going to happen. +1, +1, +1, +1, all the way to 8. Like, that's just never going to happen. So this guy doesn't look constructed playable. He looks pretty weak, but in limited, he's obviously going to be very good. We talked about this elemental god already. These overlaps, like this is a white-black elemental. I don't know what elementals are supposed to be. I think they're just across all colors, like Changeling, right, is another one that's kind of across all colors. But recommended to me via your doctor. Wow, holy cow. Oh yeah, it helps because it's essentially like massaging your muscle or stretching your muscle. You know what? Once they kind of they can do some kind of alignment with your spine, and they'll show you like an X-ray, and it looks all straight. They'll show you the before X-ray, and it looks all, you know, like this. But what they don't tell you is within a month your spine's gonna be curved again. You're gonna be having the same issues. The chiropractic doesn't fix anything. It's just like getting a massage. So for a while you feel great, and then you're not actually treating the issue, so your problems come back again. It happened to, that's what happened to me basically. I realized, and then you read about it and stuff. I've never heard of a doctor recommending a chiropractor before. That is wild. Interesting. Okay, I don't know what to say to that. Most doctors I know they just consider chiropractors as quacks, basically, but wild. There was a football player getting chiropractor done, his lung collapsed. Oh yeah, there's people who've had their necks broken and been paralyzed whenever they do the neck turning. Like, that's just so bad. The point is they're not certified by any accredited medical body. They make up their own like associations and stuff. Say, oh, I've got a certificate from blah blah blah. It's like, that's not a government recognized anything. That's could be from a Cracker Jack box. You know, I don't know. Just be careful. Is all I'm saying. They're not real doctors, and there's all kinds of issues with chiropractors. They don't actually fix anything. They just alleviate symptoms for a very short time, and then you have to go back again and again and again. Like I said, I went to a chiropractor for months, and within a couple months, everything that they did went back to normal, and it was not cheap either. None of that stuff is covered by insurance, of course, because again, it's not real medicine. So just be careful. 7 mana, we talked about this guy, we talked about this. Adept Water Shaper, 3 mana, 3/4, other tapped creatures have indestructible. That is extremely powerful. Wow. That is a crazy rare. I mean, that basically means you play this, swing with your team, they're all indestructible. You know, your opponent can't really trade with any of them, so they have to line up only blocks that prevent their creatures from dying. This guy makes combat so awkward for your opponent. That's very good. And at 3 mana, 3/4 is decent stats. Kin Care Sentry, 2 mana, 2/2 first strike lifelink. Whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature with mana value X or less from your hand onto the battlefield, tapped and attacking, where X is the number of attacking. Wow, that's very powerful too. And a 2 mana, 2/2 first strike lifelink. Like, the base stats are insane on this guy. These are rares, so they should be pushed, but White's getting some good ones here. The fact that this one's 3 mana, 2 mana, I don't like big powerful rares at 2 and 3 mana. That's too early for a lot of decks to answer. Fortunately, the stats on this guy, he'll die to basically everything, so that's good. But this guy's going to be a little tougher to kill on turn 3. Brigid Klachan's Heart. 3/2 legendary Kithkin. Whenever this creature enters or transforms. Oh, it transforms. White-green. Okay. Make a 1/1. So 3 mana for a 3/2 and a 1/1 body. Very good. And then you untap, flip it with green, and it turns into Doom's Mind. Add green or white equal to X, where X is the number of other creatures you control. At the beginning of your first main phase, flip her back. So she just makes mana? That's okay. I mean, on turn 4, that could potentially ramp you to like a 7-drop or something. That's kind of powerful and limited. None of these are good enough for standard. We're just talking about limited right now. Slumbering Walker. 5 mana 4/7 ETB with 2/-1 counters. So it's a 5 mana 2/5. At the beginning of your end step, remove a counter. Return creature card power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whoa. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. At the beginning of your end step. So it triggers the turn you play it. The creature comes onto the battlefield untapped, which is nice. Interesting. Yeah, that's kind of powerful. Your insurance does cover. Whoa. Only the first. Okay. Yeah, it ends up adding up. Yeah, the insurance here won't cover any of that. The BO1 of the medical world? Yeah, they're the brawl of the medical world. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Champion of the Klachan, 4 mana, 4/5 flash. This thing's a bomb. As an additional cost to cast this. Oh, you got to behold. Okay, other kicking. Yeah, we looked at this one before. Winnowing. That could be interesting. I mean, obviously very powerful in a kindred deck. So white, I mean, a lot of the content creators are already saying white looks like the best color. We haven't even gotten to the commons and uncommons yet, but if you know these kind of kindred decks are all you're drafting, then this is going to be actually powerful in the Kithkin deck, right? I mean, you should have basically all Kithkin in your deck minus 1 or 2 creatures, so it shouldn't be hard to engineer a situation where this is a Plague Wind, right? For each player, choose a creature that player controls. I guess, actually, it depends. No, if they're playing a Kindred deck, you can't sweep anything. Yeah, this actually probably won't be great. This is going to be very hard to make good. I thought it was if they don't control a type that you have. But it's also, like, you have to choose one of their creatures as well. That's unplayable. Wait, what? Then each player sacrifices all of their creatures they control that don't share with their... So if you're playing Kithkin and you play against another player who's not playing Kithkin, this just wraths your creatures? For each player. No, you get to choose your own, and then but you have to choose one of theirs. So if they don't have... If they have 3 creatures and they're all the same type, this does nothing. I'm not great with that, but... Yeah. Relief, yeah. And I mean, that's the other thing. Exercise, you know, like just stretching, like learning how to do a bunch of stuff on your own might be more beneficial, and it'll certainly be cheaper. You know, once you, like, maybe you'll have to pay initially to take a class or pay for a trainer or whatever, or a lot of this stuff you can learn on your own. Like, I've never used a trainer or taken a class or anything to learn how to work out, but you know, doing certain exercises, learning and getting into a routine and stuff, maybe that'll help. I know guys who have back problems, and it's because they're fat, and they keep going, oh yeah, I hurt my back playing this and hockey and blah blah blah. It's like, you're also fat. You're very overweight. That is a huge problem for your back. That is, you're putting stress on your spine. But they don't, like, that doesn't factor into the equation for them. They want, you know, I'm on this pill and I'm taking painkillers and da-da-da. And I'm like, you should be getting into the gym, and you should not be drinking so much beer and eating all that shit. You got to get in shape. That'll help your back more than whatever else you're doing right now. You know, I'm not saying you're like fat out of, you know, your back or whatever, but that's one of the things. Sometimes it is a legitimate medical issue. Sometimes it's an old injury. Like, yes, people had spinal surgeries and whatever. But a lot of times, like, I have friends who bitch about their aches and pains, but they will refuse to go to the gym. They will refuse to change their diet. And I think that's a big part of why they're in pain, but they don't equate that with their back pain or what have you. You know what I mean? Yeah, physical therapy is proper therapy. That actually, that's what I mean. But I didn't want to suggest that because that's expensive too. I'm trying to think of like a cheaper alternative or something you could do on your own. You know, just getting into a good workout routine and eating healthy will... it can never make it worse. It might even make it better. Maybe it won't help at all, but I think it would almost certainly help somewhat. You know what I mean? And you are overweight now. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, yeah, you this is the hard part. Now that you've got back pain and you've put on weight, it's tricky to exercise